in several $million under budget on the expense side. Yet 5 of the 9 board members approved the 24-25 budget with a 1% tax increase, including Thompson, Boyer, Yerger, Ressler, and Mary Brenneman. Note, all of these board members, except Mrs. Brenneman, are running in both the Republican and Democrat primaries next month. Mrs. Ewan, who is also running in both primaries, didn't participate in that budget vote because she wasn't appointed to the board until October. So voters need to be asking each board member, why didn't you stand up for taxpayers last year when people were insisting that taxes needed to be raised, when you knew that the district would have ample funds from the budget surplus in addition to funds from land sales? In October, Ewan and all other board members, except Sullivan, approved spending for the 25-26 capital projects and creation of a new central office position for the food service coordinator. In November, Sullivan was the only nay vote to transferring $3.2 million from the general fund to capital reserves, which was nearly all of the budget surplus following the audit. Not to ACTI or anything else, just new spending on capital projects. Sullivan was also the only nay vote for the significant new spending for the athletic fields capital project in November and the public school facility grants projects in December. Prior to Ms. Ewan's appointment to the board, members approved additional spending for administrative raises an entire year before those contracts were set to expire. Sullivan, Miller, and Danielle Brenneman were the only nay votes for the assistant superintendent contract with raises last May. Miller, who resigned in September, and Sullivan were the only nay votes for the extension of the interim superintendent contract, the business administrator contract, and Act 93 agreements for administration, all with raises, a year early. Miller and Sullivan were also the only nay votes in June for the superintendent contract with raises and creation of a new position for the LASD safety officer. Last election, the community voted for change and 7 new board members were seated, which brought all kinds of chaos but not positive change. There have only been 2 board members that consistently voted against new spending: Miller, who has resigned, and Sullivan, who has come under fire from the rest of this board. After consistently approving new spending, board members feigned surprise when faced with potential tax increases. 5 board members, Thompson, Boyer, Yerger, Ressler, and Ewan, are running in both the Democratic and Republican primaries on May 20th. But it's clear from their voting records that would just bring more spending that increases taxes without improving our student outcomes, which has resulted in our district having the lowest PSSA scores in the county. I pray that voters will be better informed to elect school board members that don't attempt to suppress transparency and actually bring the positive change we need in the school district.
Thank you. Dwayne Sullivan.
Good evening to the board. I really want to just speak on, as a resident and taxpayer mainly here, because I didn't have a chance to attend the April 1st FP&S meeting, or the curriculum meeting, but I did have a chance to view the video of it, and I actually watched it twice. I'm a bit concerned. What I saw in this room was a bunch of adults supposedly allowing the attack on Suzanne Johnson to occur. It's clear to me, by watching the video, that they decided to intimidate her by sitting in those seats. I saw it myself. Many other people saw it, brought it to my attention. I think this kind of game stuff has got to stop. You know, I have a lot of respect for some of you in here, but not when you sit there and watch it. One of the people in this room who's most enabling is Mr. Mitchell. He sat there and consoled Janelle, when clearly he should have said, knock it off. This stuff has to stop. We can't keep running our meetings prior, after, during, like that. We shouldn't be attacking district parents. It doesn't matter. You know, I got people that come here to speak against me, but I'm not going to stand in the crowd here and attack them. They clearly have an agenda, and I'm not going to attack them. So my whole point is, why can't we all act like adults? Stop playing games, because that's what we're doing over here. That's why he's sitting there now, and that's why I tried to watch that video, and I know Janelle has a nervous disorder, because every 5 seconds, click, 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 with the pen. It got on my damn nerves.
You can't watch a meeting. It's not funny. So you think it's funny. This is what I'm talking about, the disrespect of Janelle Ressler. This is why I say she should not be back. For that reason. Because they are very disrespectful people. Very disrespectful. And I'm done with it. I'm done. I think a lot of other people are done with it. I mean, they're calling me saying, hey, no, absolutely not. And another thing I want to mention when I'm standing up here, when I door knocked for the last 2 years, I was very certain when I told people that you guys were running on, not now, but back then, on both ballots, and at the time it was Nick. I told them, I said, look, he's on the Democrat ballot as well as the Republican ballot. And they're like, what? You can do that? I'm like, yes, you can do that. And they're like, that's crazy. Why do they even allow that? And the point is, there's a lot of voters that I talked to who had no idea you could do that. But I will tell you this, when they came to the precinct to vote in 2023 in the general, when they saw Nick Lavelle, Democrat/Republican, they walked out and said, I'm not voting for that guy. He got Democrat/Republican next to his name. It's not about representing the students, as Jeannie pointed out in a post that she put up on Facebook. It's not about that, because I represent the students. It's not about that, okay? But what I'm ashamed of is you all claim to represent the students, but I do believe the lady that left the district had 2 students. I do believe that Suzanne Johnson has a student in the district, and nobody respects those. So it doesn't matter what side of the party you're on. You all need to just pull yourself together and stop playing games with people that are sitting in the audience. Because, look, you stuck us over there, and now you want to attack us. Now you want to sit people in front of us. This has got to stop. It's got to stop. And that's all I'm asking. I'm asking it to stop. Stop playing games. Never did they sit up front. Never. And now they're doing it, probably told to do it, but they're doing it. And it's got to stop. Leave her alone. Let her record the meetings. Leave her alone. And I thank you all for listening to me today. Oh, and by the way, if I might remark, by the way, I read the newspaper, Stephen Yerger wrote in here, committee member Stephen Yerger raised concerns about the potential for false accusations. Yerger's pointed out in some circumstances students could make false accusations. And I'm not even getting into the dating, but Steve, you're sitting here saying this, but you know a lot of false accusations have been said about me, and you let it go. So you're grandstanding. You're grandstanding for the newspaper, which is more than just more as a newsletter now, since Harry Hartman's gone. It's just a newsletter. It's just a happy-go-lucky, oh, look what Steve said, look what they said. There's nothing in here. And another thing on the policy 249, this board is committed to provide a safe, positive learning environment for the district students. The board recognizes that bullying creates an atmosphere of fear and intimidation. Well, if you're all writing that in 249, why aren't you all doing that with everybody else? Because I don't think any of them follow that anyway. You don't. So you're going to have 249 for the students, you're going to have whatever, but you all allow bullying in this room. Every one of you do. And it's got to stop. The bullying's got to stop. If you're going to have a policy for the students, you should have a policy for yourself, and you should follow it. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Excuse me?
Gas lady of the evening.
Well, this you would.
I have a motion on the floor. I need a motion to, I need a motion to approve the regular board minutes of March 17, 2025.
So moved.
I need a second. Second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to approve the curriculum, co-curriculum, and policy meeting of April 1st, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposing? Motion carries. I need a motion for finance, property, and supply of April 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Somebody. Carry your call. Do I have any discussion?
Yeah, the other thing, it says that they're going to bring forward the 0.1%. We never actually said that. So I thought it was-
Well, you can't bring any, you can't vote on anything in the committee, so if someone asks for zero, even though
No, I
someone
mean,
is
it
not.
says that Abby's going to bring forward the 0.1%, but we never actually discussed that.
I think one particular person did ask for a 1%. So since you can't really vote, you have to if one person asks for it, if you come to a consensus.
No, nobody asked, nobody asked for it too.
Nobody asked for two. So Carrie, can you amend the minutes to take two out? Yes. Thank you.
For clarification, I thought that like the majority, I think committee, like what they recommend goes for.
If it's a unanimous discussion, yes, but if you have, it's not unanimous, you can, in this particular case, it's best practice to bring the whole thing to the board with the full board.
That's
They
new.
do that.
I don't.
We did it before.
So whenever Jeannie wanted something on curriculum, back in the day, everybody was wrong for it.
I don't believe, remember, because I was never on the curriculum. I blocked it out.
Well, can we at least, I don't think that's how committees work, but can we at least notate which board members wanted which item?
We can, and that's fine. I think that would outline the reason for the 1% over there. It's not a transcript, but that wouldn't be a transcript. That would be just recognition.
And that there were other options.
Sure. To Nick's point, he's right. In all the meetings that we attended, we would all sit and we decide what, we would not decide, we wouldn't vote, but we would decide what we were going to move forward out of committee. That was the purpose of the committee. And thus, if you had a certain number above a certain number, that's what got moved forward. Because the purpose of the committee is to bring it down to a level that the board doesn't have to sit there and struggle with 16 different decisions. So that's why we have the committee. So I agree with Nick. He's right. That's how the committee should work. If 3 people voted for the 0% and 1 said no, then it moves forward as 0%.
Well, that would be a vote.
That means only 3 out of 9 members get to decide what our budget's going to be.
Well, that they did do it. And-
So that doesn't make sense to me either.
Yeah, we've always brought multiple budgets to the floor, all the way back to before Statler. Can't remember the guy's name way back when. Yeah, before Mike, there was always at least more than one percentage increase, or, you know, if there was a possibility of decrease, there's always more than one option.
So for more than one budget.
We presented to the board all options. And then they voted, then when it came to the regular meeting, that's when everybody had discussion and voted on.
Well, what budget was put on the regular meeting?
When the full board voted on what was going to be put on.
What did they vote
Um,
May.
on the May.
But what I'm getting to is how is that budget, how is what they put on the agenda decided? Well, my understanding is the committee's recommendation.
I would say that the committee's recommendation of 0 was presented. So
Not across the board.
if 0 was presented, all the information was reflective of 0. As 1% we discussed and 2% were shown as discussion points, as a full board can discuss about all the way up to 5.2. 0% was noted, FBS, and was presented to the full board.
And the key word that I do believe, and they always use was, the board recommended these are the other options as well, just to let people know as a reference point where 1 is, where 0 is, 2 and 3.
So where did the 2 come from?
Remember, when FBS, the administration had anywhere from 1% raise to guide up to 3% for operations. So
Right, and this is just on the finance.
That was just the administration order to put that.
that was, as
Yeah, that was
presented,
something-
was discussion
that was
purposes
something
only.
I discussed for comparison.
So how are we going to get to the May meeting as to what the proposed final budget is going to be approved?
The May work session, the May FBS committee, vet that out.
Yes. So the May FPS committee will move forward a budget, a proposed final.
And then the work session, the full board will discuss, and they can change
Yes.
from then until they vote.
I thought that was that.
Now, April was when it was presented with the budget. So technically, you don't need to change the minutes for the property supply, because that's what he presented, right?
No, it says in there, and.
Will present to the full board work session, showing figures based on general.
Was that 0 1%, and at that If that's your, if that's your
Correct.
reasoning,
Correct.
and for that, then it should only be 0.1%, not 2%.
Yeah, and we'll reflect that.
But, so, I just want clarification to make sure that, how we're gonna do it next month. So, say that there's a disagreement amongst the members, one member thinks one thing and the rest of the members think another thing. Are we gonna put two budgets on the agenda to vote on? Or are we just gonna, are we going to go with the majority of the committee and the board?
That's what it's all been, since I've been on the board, it's been an option. I don't see how you can argue for three people to make a decision on a budget.
It's always been an option. We've always voted
At
on two
multiple-
budgets on the regular meeting.
They were always given
Given the option,
Giving
yes.
full option.
Full option. It was issue two.
Say it was just every FPS committee in May, the committee gets to select which shows up on the work session. Every work session then gets decided by the 9 members what to move forward with to the voting session. And then the 9 board members vote on the proposed budget, and then the same process happens. The voting session happens, that can change from FPS committee, the work session, the voting session, and back and forth. What I presented was just what we've compiled for the past couple of months to show the full board if there's questions or comments they had now until May to decide, and then again in June to clarify any of the purposes. So we have it starting in December the whole way up to June.
So we'll have one professional.
There'll be one PD document that the board will do, and I'll have to sit for the 30
One
days.
recommended.
Yes.
Clarification, Carl, to comment about you can't vote in the MPS meeting, you can't vote in the workshop either.
Right, there you go.
Well, I'm just making that point. It was moved forward in agreement, just like it does in the workshop.
Right. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? I need a motion to approve the work session of April 7th, 2025.
So moved.
Steve, you understand? Any discussion on that?
Yeah, well, no, a new business, it says that I, mentioned what Mr. Barnwell said about for future decision-making, but I actually included things on the HVAC, that we talked about, look at the maintenance record before you go and replace it, and that's not mentioned.
So what's the general, what is the
But
general
what is
topic
for
coming out?
future decision-making, it was, that before you buy this HVAC, to look at the maintenance records to see if, who's even working with it, before you go replace it.
Yeah, the question that I have is, do the minutes reflect that we'll look at the, we'll look at it?
Just says, what you did, that I mentioned what he said, doesn't even mention the HVAC, all it says, decision.
Right, but then,
It was actually for the current HVAC.
yeah, but these aren't transcripts, these are.
No, but that's, I didn't
So
say
for
it.
future, but for future, anything you want us to look at, anything, whether it's HVAC, blacktop, whatever, have we looked at the repair costs look like, or that is what you're, what I got out of what you're asking for.
I did. I heard HVAC.
Just that he was talking about replacing the current HVAC.
So you're not really
We'll
for
add HVAC.
Okay, yep.
I wasn't getting so specific.
Right.
Fine, I'm not. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Steve, you're up.
Okay, Finance, Property, and Supply Committee reports. If anybody has any questions on items A through L, please request a letter to be pulled and voted on separately. If not, start the recommendations.
Yes. Oh, you're doing a good side.
No, you have questions?
Yeah, I would like C and D pulled.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, I would like A, B, E, G, H. A, B,
Still one.
E.
In other words, you just want them all pulled.
No,
That was like last.
No.
Okay, you got
A, B, and then I got and then I wanted E, G, H, and L1.
We're not going yet. All right, anything else? I have a motion on the floor to approve. Oh. Yeah, we just need a motion. So, measure.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, I didn't get all the stuff written down, I was trying to catch it up. So, we have, is F full?
No.
No.
Is G full?
Yes.
Okay. Is H full?
Yes.
Is I full?
No.
J?
No.
K?
No.
All right. In a form of a motion, I would like F, excuse me, I, J, and K.
I have a motion on the floor to approve F, I, J, and K. Do I have a second?
Second, Mary Lynn.
All right. Any discussion on those?
Yes. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
For anonymous ending.
On F, this is just going to be request for proposal, right?
Yeah, this is just permission to advertise.
Right, okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Okay. All right, we'll start at the top. In form of a motion, recommend approval of the proposed change order 78, auto room flooring.
I have a motion on the floor to approve the proposed change order for the cardio room flooring. Do I have a second?
Second, Mary Lynn.
Discussion.
I pulled it, I don't have discussion, I want to just vote it on separately.